Hey, a great Sunday evening. It is a beautiful Sunday evening. It is the 26th of April, and I honestly can't believe that this whole month is almost done and over with. And it's kind of weird. One of the things that we've been saying, it's so trippy how the days, they all seem measured up all inside. You can't tell one day apart from the other. And now we're actually uh, at
Oh,
we're actually at the end of the getting close to the end of the month, and it has been a historic month, uh, to say the least. And again, with us, of course, we have Frankie the fish. Frankie, how you doing, Frankie?
Hey, how's it going, Erasmo? Good evening, everybody. We're gonna start week 6 tomorrow of this quarantine lifestyle. Pretty interesting. Glad to have Diego and Doctor Eder with us tonight. How's it going, guys?
good evening, guys. Doing good.
Yes, yes, and we do have, of course, we have had Dr. Eder Hernandez with us before. Eder Hernandez is an amazing friend of ours. Dr. Eder Hernandez is, working with the city of Brownsville in regards to our testing that is being done out there at the sports park, and an amazing job. Him and his team out there are really kicking it, man. Really kicking it, and we're very, very grateful to have such talented people here in the city of Brownsville. So, man, thanks. Also with us tonight, Diego Mata.
Hey, hello.
Diego Mata is one of my senior Hannah seniors. Also one of my band students out there at Hannah High School, and we've been asking for a senior to come on and to give us their perspective and see where they're at. Again, a lot of individuals. It's kind of hard, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint. But you could say that to say that this group up here was affected more. This group, no, we've all been affected by it, to a certain degree. And again, our students have taken a big old hit, especially our seniors. But so it's always good to have that perspective out here. So, hola Gloria,
Hola.
hola Go Eagles. And again, it's been a quiet day. One of the things that we have noticed is that, we haven't gotten any numbers out there today. But one of the things that I have seen on social media, and again, this is where Diego comes in. One of the things that we have seen on social media is how our community is starting to do things a little bit different. Like they're starting to, find ways to circumvent, the circumstances or the situations that we're in right now. And one of the things that I found online, on social media, on Facebook, is a senior, adopt a senior 2020. And again, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing for people to come up with these amazing ideas and come together as a community to help each other out. To see what ways we could put a smile on other community members' faces. And I will say out loud, and one of my adopted seniors is Diego Mata. So thank you, Diego, for honoring me with being the adopter.
Of course, man. Of course.
One of the things I think that we've been bringing up, we have to find ways, to honor our seniors. And we've actually posted these past couple of weeks how different high schools out there are doing the little banners on the street, and they're doing the little banners or the signs on the highways or on the roads. And it's all good stuff. And we'll start off with Diego. Hey, Diego. So how does it feel to be a graduating senior that is quarantined for the last 6 weeks of their schooling?
Well, honestly, it's kind of a letdown to go through all 4 years of high school and then waiting for the one moment, which is to walk down Sam Stadium and graduate with all my friends around me, and then have it all just cut off short towards the end of the year when things were getting a lot cooler for all of our friends and stuff.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
really
But it is, and again, we've done a lot of modifications and going back into the signs and things. Again, and one of the things that y'all won't be experiencing probably is prom,
mhm.
and and graduation. That's still up in the air. One of the things that I think is important is kind of trippy is when you're a junior, you're kind of looking forward for the graduation. You're kind of looking forward for the prom and how you're going to end your year. Out with a bang. Has that been a letdown, Diego?
Oh, for sure. I was looking forward to going to prom and seeing my friends, taking a bunch of pictures, making memories with my friends, but it's all been cut off short. So at this point, there's people that are talking about like after quarantine and they want to do like their own prom at some like a studio or something like that. People are trying to make ideas to make up for the time that we've lost as a school.
And again, being creative is, I think, one of the things that makes our seniors 2020 shine this year. But talking about the possibility of having a graduation, Dr. Hernandez, you've been at the forefront. You've been at the front fighting this disease, for us here in the city of Brownsville. I mean, and there's been a lot of talk in regards to different schools, possible dates of graduation. Dr. Hernandez, I know that for a fact that I've heard Dr. Fauci says that we shouldn't think that we're out in the woods, and has basically condemned a lot of not condemned, but spoken a little bit against a lot of the other states that have started doing these soft openings out there. Dr. Hernandez, do you think, with your experience, do you think that having a graduation anytime this summer is going to be a probability?
I mean, we have to look at the history. And history states, and what we saw what the Spanish flu did in 1918. Individuals went out, I think, in Philadelphia, and within in the next week after that, there was millions of people that were hit, a lot of deaths. So it's something that's very, very complicated. I think it's too early. We have to follow the guidance, and I'm very happy that our governor was able to let our school district know that it was on his recommendations that we could not open for the children. I've been seeing an increased amount of infections in children. The youngest we've had is 9 months old. I've had 9-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds. So the infections are there, and they're pretty much in family clusters. So the brother will give it to the brother, the godfather will give it to the son. It just gets more complicated as we have families in cluster groups. We highly recommend people to continue the social distancing, even if it's family members from different homes. So I had a case over these past couple of days where the father-in-law had a positive case, and then the son-in-law was positive, and then the wife was positive, and they just continued going and going, and then those individuals work at specific companies, and they go and infect other individuals, and that's how we have community spread. So it's a mistake that I'm glad that our children will not be returning back as of May.
What is the probability, do you think, of us actually being able to hold a graduation?
I think right now this is totally new for everyone, but we do know the facts are, if you looked at Italy when they were congregating together prior to their curve, there was just so much death involved in the weeks after. Because of the disease, when you get infected for the first week, you might not have any symptoms. And around day 5 and 7 is when most people develop symptoms, but it could take up to 2 weeks. So if you have graduation, you might have 1 week with no symptoms, and then you go to the grocery market. We already have non-essential, things opening. Like we have a car wash that's open. We have different things that are opening. Where people are congregating, and so it's important to continue social distancing. If they would have gone to graduation and then go to the supermarket like H-E-B or Target or any of those companies, it's highly possible that they could be infectious within that first week, and the person doesn't even know that they're affected.
Yeah. Well, James is asking a question, and we'll respond to this question. Erasmo, in the U.S., Corona has a death rate of 0.2% for people ages 10 to 30. Why should we have to live under such a burden for something which is relatively harmless? I'll give you my opinion, James, and then I'll pass it to the professionals. I'll tell you that just because it falls under a less cost probability of someone from the ages of 10 to 30, uh, doesn't mean that we have to be irresponsible in regards to the individuals that are under 10 or to the individuals that are mostly affected, which are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, which have make up the amount of individuals who have passed away in our county. So again, we have to, we say these little niche little phrases like we're all in this together. Let's actually live by them. Let's actually live by them, and let's be in this together. And let's not only see for that little age group, 10 to 30. Let's look at our community as a whole. Diego, you fall into this age group between the 10 and 30. What is your take in regards to it not affecting you all that much?
I mean, even though it doesn't do too much to although it's not lethal and wouldn't kill like everyone in that age group, I don't think, like you said, I don't think I should be responsible, or any of my other friends in that same age group should be responsible to affect any other families that are in that same age group or even older. I don't want to take part of someone's family member, being sick.
Again, I've said it. Probably I do my best to stay away from my family members, my nephews, my sister, my older relatives. I do my best to stay away, not for any other reason, but, not because I think I'm sick. Aunque dice aquí mi compadre que los mocos, Ismael, but I do it because because I don't want to have that burden, like Diego says. Dr. Hernandez, what is your take in regards to James' question?
Well, it looks like James has a military hat on. Could you ask him maybe he's part of the military?
James, are you military, James? And he'll answer in a little bit. But an overview in regards to the question?
Well, our first death in the military was actually a PA in the forefront of treating the disease.
Yeah.
And so, look, I've been a PA for over 12 years. I also have doctoral training in medical science and disaster management. I have a certificate from FEMA. And so when it comes to disasters that we're unaware of, we have to be very cautious. We have to be extremely cautious. This is a virus. It's a zoonotic virus. There's ER physicians all over the United States and all over the world that technically don't know how to treat it. There's not a rule book. There's not a treatment book. There's not a magic pill. There's not a vaccine. There's too much risk involved for us to say there's a calculation that he put at 0.2%. I don't know who's calculating this, but I'm not going to take any risk with my family, my children, my wife, with Mr. Castro. So any of these patients that we have, we can't take any risk. Down the road, when the metrics are and the studies come out, it's a very virulent disease. And there's no reason to take a risk. What we do know that works is social distancing. That is something that we've proven that works, not only in the U.S., but all over the world. If we look at, and I was talking to our mayor earlier today, if you look at I commend him because he looked at models of countries that actually did extremely well. South Korea did a lot of measures of prevention, social distancing very early on, and their curve, it peaked, but it dropped, and they got out of that red zone. Other countries failed to do that, and one of the countries we all talk about was Italy. So the people, the leaders of Brownsville, specifically our mayor, when we got together to discuss these cases, we've always been ahead of the curve. We've been blessed. We've been blessed to have him as a mayor. That actually, not only that, tremendous, right? So he actually. He did a lot of research studies. Yeah. He was providing studies. So he was looking at what other successful countries and cities were doing, and we merged that on the medical aspect. So there's no, 2 weeks of your life, I think, is not going to be a burden. You people die within days. So.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we've had to get accustomed to is I've here in the state of Texas, we still can't get beauty shops and barbershops to open up, and me and Diego are growing this little hair all of a sudden, and it's like going all over the place. because we haven't had the opportunity to go to a barber and to a beauty salon. With that said, one of the questions is, one of the other things that I was thinking the other day is how, how we wear ties. I wear ties. When I was used to visit Diego over there at the Hannah at the band hall, I'd always have my coat and tie. And I always thought, like, well, what the hell are ties for? It's just like like a little a fashion little statement because they serve no other purpose. Your shirt covers your torso, your pants hopefully cover your bottom parts, and the tie is just hanging there. It's just like a little ornament thing. Well, now I was thinking in regards to the mask, how the masks are going to be, how people are going to start to be creative with the different types of masks out there. And we're like, man, and I got me a friend of mine got me open the door mask, and and I have now like a collection of 5, 6, 7 different masks, and I was known for having a collection of ties. Maybe now I'm going to be having a collection of masks out there. But the question that Peter asked is a good question. How effective, Diego? Are you wearing masks?
Yes, whenever I go out, I do wear masks.
Do you are you being creative with the mask, or you planning?
I just have the standard.
Just the standard little mask. Okay, I'm getting ideas for the adopt the senior thing. So I'm throwing it out there. But the question that Peter asked is, how effective is wearing a mask in public, and will it stop the spread of the virus, Dr. Hernandez?
So if we look at our models, and the U.S. Surgeon General he did a real nice presentation on how to develop your own mask. I don't know if we saw that commercial.
Yes.
And so it's very important. It's not really rocket science. It's very easy. Someone coughs up or sneezes up on you full of the virus. Well, guess what? You highly likely you're going to get the virus. We do know the virus is transmittable through eye contact, droplets, nasal contact. So make sure you keep your fingers out of your nose. Right? A lot of us touch our face so many times in a day. We're unaware, poke our nose, and also our throat. And so it's important to have that area where we can have it blocked from having those particles. So if you have a person A with a mask, and then you have patient B with a mask, that chance of transmission becomes little to none, right? And then it becomes almost zero when you have different type of masks. So we have cloth covered masks that filtrate small particles, but not anything like tuberculosis or viruses. Then we have surgical masks that we wear, and then we have a N95 respirator masks that are specifically made to filter these type of viruses and other biologicals. So it depends on the mask, but it does decrease the rate of transmission. So obviously, when you go to get your drive-through for your medication or your food, make sure you have that covering, and that individual that's providing the food also has that covering. Also, I went over to I'm not gonna disclose where I went in the morning to buy some food, but we purchased some tamales early, and they were handed over to us, and the individual was wearing her mask, and it was hanging. She wasn't covering her nose; it was just hanging here, and then they were doing this to put it back in. So lots of touching the face continues, and so good thing we have lots of alcohol, and we obviously wipe things down. So we have to be so careful. It is these minor things that could get you into huge trouble.
Well, it is an issue again, and we've actually posted a link out there to the CDC website. And I think one of the questions that first came out in regards to the mask was, hey, which is the best mask out there? They were hard to find, couldn't buy one, and stuff of the sort. So, one of the things that we recommended was that individuals go out there and find those websites, and the CDC had one on themselves. Go out there and make your own mask. Actually, you can actually spend some time with kids and stuff, and make it into one of these little hobbies that you're going to get into, or something or the other. Frankie, anything out there?
Yeah. Again, first of all, congratulations, Diego, on your on this milestone of graduating. I just want to applaud you and say this is a big achievement for you and your family. But one thing I do want to stress is that there's more out there for you. Again, this is something that your family has been waiting for a long time. But there's something else for you to achieve, many goals and many more accomplishments. So always keep on, making your family proud. Um,
Always.
uh, and thanks for being here. Also, shout outs to the Adopt a Senior 2020 the page. It's amazing whenever a community comes together and does their best to make things happen. Unfortunately, Diego and his peers aren't fortunate to celebrate the way Dr. Hernandez and Erasmo and myself once did. So hats off to that page for bringing the community together. And Dr. Hernandez, it is a different a world that we're living in. You spoke about the wearing the mask, and that's something that's gonna be our new reality for the time being. With that said, doctor, in regards to the food, we do have the governor who has a press conference tomorrow, and we anticipate that he's going to give us a better idea of how businesses will be operating. In regards to the food, should we continue to go out and purchase food? Would you recommend for us to try our best to cook at home?
I mean, I think cooking at home and having a controlled environment where you can see, you know exactly what you're doing. It's actually the safest thing. But if a lot of us are still essential workers and are working, and so we need to pick up for our families. And I think our managers of all these establishments should be overly cautious and obviously providing the correct hand washing techniques where we do the 20 seconds antibacterial soaps and not just because you have the gloves means that you're protected. We've seen people poking their nose with the glove and all these pictures that we're seeing all over the news. So we've got to be careful with our hands. Our hands are important, and it's important to wash your hands with the 20-second rule. And obviously, if you have control of your environment with your food, you're in a good spot. If you can't see that, then you're at the mercy of that other individual behind the counter. And so we ask people that are serving food to be extra cautious. The virus there is some studies and some information that shows that the virus is found in the fecal matter. So if you're serving food and you go to the restroom, and you could be a silent carrier, or you could just recently have been exposed, and if you don't clean your hands properly and then you're serving the food to an individual, there's possibility of exposure. So we still don't know the ins and outs of fecal oral transmission, but there is traces of the virus in the feces.
Port Isabel found adopters for all of the seniors under 24. Port Isabel is amazing, but then again, Jimmy, y'all have very limited graduates in comparison to Brownsville. But I love my Port Isabel people, amazing individuals. A question for the doctor: is it safe to order stuff from China? I would say buy American, folks. What the heck,
Yeah. At this point, and I was telling my wife earlier, everything that you look at, it says made in China, made in China. Let's focus on our commerce. Let's focus on our economy. Let's have the government help fund small businesses to be self-sufficient, to provide all of our N95 masks, all of our medical supplies, all these kits, everything that we need. Why is it made in China? We need to have our own resources. So I don't believe it's safe. I don't believe it's safe. You should not be receiving packages from anything that has to do with China. If you do, I recommend that you decontaminate that package. I can't disclose the name of the carrier, but there is a carrier that it's not the U.S. Postal Service, but there is a carrier that I was able to identify. There was a positive individual within that system. So if they're dropping off packages to your home, it's highly likely if they're infected, and if they're touching their nose and they have secretions and they're coughing up on that package and turn it into you, the virus does leave on carton boxes, on plastics. So very, very careful. I've received some merchandise that obviously, there's a lot of people at home, and there's a lot of people doing online orders, right? So we ordered a specific juice. We want to eat healthier, so we're making juices. So that package came in yesterday, and I decontaminated the whole package. I mean, it got Lysol, alcohol, all types of stuff before it came in the house. Being extra careful because there are some carriers out there, services that we've had some positive. Uh, uh,
They are. I mean, again, I think what we're going to find out these next couple of weeks that there have been a lot of positives everywhere. One of the things that we did learn this week is that starting on Friday, there was starting to be a lot of different changes in regards to starting to open up our state and open up our county. Now individuals can go to the beach, do some surfing, do some running, do some jogging out there, do some swimming even. And I saw a lot of friends of mine going out there and doing some amazing fishing and some big, good-sized redder out there. But Juan is mentioning you recommended to open car washes, not to recommend to open car wash, but our city commissioner opened hers up. What do you think about that?
well, I think that order was a drop down order, right? It was a government order. It came down from the governor to the county judge. Is my understanding. I mean, it's simple. It's simple. We obviously, I don't think an essential aspect. Everyone has different views. I live right around Blue Wave, and man, that line is tremendous. The line is outrageous. The only difference there is they don't allow. I'm not seeing them able to vacuum the vehicles. But even when we were in quarantine, Blue Wave had the distance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think if they're following the rules of social distancing, car wash is one of those things that we just got to be extra careful or whatever we're doing. But that directive came from, I think it was a county order.
Yeah, it was the county order. It was actually Judge Trevino who is still again. I still don't get it. I think that people have the option of going out there and washing their own cars from la manguera afuera, but that's just me. Diego, what type of businesses are you missing out there, Diego?
I know that there's salons open and people are getting their nails done. And I saw that the beach opened recently,
Yeah.
like yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And already I went on Snapchat and I see a bunch of people going to the beach. And I saw like live pictures from all the people at the beach. It's crowded over there, which is crazy to me because I don't understand why you'd be going out. Like if you need to go out for essentials, then sure, go for it. But
Did you see it? Did you see them wearing masks or
some of them I did.
were they protected? Some, but not all.
I mean, I skipped through it because
Okay.
I was in disbelief.
What type of businesses are you as a teenager, as a senior? What type of businesses around town are you missing?
Personally, I like Guitar Center. I like to go to Guitar Center all the time, and I love getting like fast food. Right, I like going out with my friends and getting fast food like Taco Bell, but I can't dine in anymore. I'd rather not dine in, even if I can. So I miss Guitar Center, all the fast food places, and just going to Walmart just to find something to buy, something to spend money on.
Yeah.
I miss going out and being normal.
Yeah,
I'm here all.
I think one of the things, and I love Guitar Center. I don't play any instrument, but I love going in there. I had a guitar, but my nephew took that. I said Gordo took that, Carlos took that from me. But I tell people that one of the things that I do is I go to the movies a lot. I love going to watch movies, and I think that what's going to happen for us is that at the mall, the movies is probably going to be one of the only places that actually survives. Movies. The mall was one of those hangouts where a lot of kids were out, and a lot of us would just go do some walking out there. And I used to live in a smaller town, and in the smaller town, Walmart was our mall. I was in Walmart, just go walking around and see what we could buy. And I'm thinking that what's going to happen to the city of Brownsville is we might not get them all back. We might not get them all back, and we might revert back to Walmart being everybody's little mall. So I miss the fast food too. I miss Taco Bell. I miss Jack in the Box. I love Mr. Egg Roll. I miss Well, I mean, they're still open, but it's just not the same, man. I want to be in there. I want to be out there getting more extra sauce, and I want extra sauce. I don't want to bring egg rolls home. I don't want to bring my Taco Bell tacos home. I want to eat them there. They start to get a little soggy after like 3-4 minutes. Not my thing. Uh, Doctor, when do you believe we will learn if those who have recovered from the virus are immune, and how long will immune last? And that's actually a great question. It's something that we wanted to bring up with you because, I mean, a lot of people say, "Well, look at the number of the recovered," and I'm going like, "Well, we've already determined that in some places there's a resurgence. It's coming back in individuals. I mean, is recovered really recovered? What's all this with immunity, Doctor?"
So I think there's two antibodies to discuss. You have an initial RNA virus infection that lasts anywhere from 0 to 28 days, and I'll tell you what's going on. And some people are retesting positives in other parts of the world because they're getting the test very early on. Again, after the initial onset of the infection, and maybe they're testing at day 2 or 3, or even day 4, and then they're retesting at day 21. It's highly possible that the virus some people can clear the virus in a week, some people can clear the virus in a month. Everyone's immune system is different and dependent how robust it is. But I'm thinking that these people are retesting too early. Now, the antibodies that we deal with are the immunoglobulin M, and that deals with an acute infection. Then as the virus increases, IgM increases, and then it drops as the viral load drops. Then your body produces these type of antibodies called IgG, immunoglobulin G, and that is more of an immunity / memory antibody that is able to remember the virus. That usually peaks around day 14 to 14, day 14 to 21. So it's recommended. That is an immunity / memory antibody, and there's no full proof right now that there's full immunity. The research really hasn't been done. In my aspect, when I have people come into my office that need to get varicella testing because they need to prove they either have varicella disease, they need the vaccination, or we get a varicella titer. So we draw their blood and we examine the blood to see if they have an X amount of antibodies that allow us to say that they're immune. And I don't think those parameters have been set by anyone, not the WHO, not the CDC. Right now, there are just two types of antibody tests, IgM and IgG. Have you had the infection before? If you have IgG, it's possible that you could be immune, but is not certain. There's no certainty right now. It just shows that you had the infection before. So this is all new.
No, it is new. And again, I'm glad you mentioned that it's new. And there's a lot of questions in regards: can this kill it? Can this kill it? Can this kill it? Everything from stomach acid to I think I saw a comment right now in regards to the sun, the heat, and everything else. And I'm glad, Doctor, you mentioned it's new. It is so new that we just don't know a lot of the things. Right now it's going to be a hot mess. I've been following Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx during the White House task force. And one of the things that they make mention and allude to is that we're not going to have a vaccine for this for at least a year and a half. And we shouldn't start getting that comfortable. But besides that, we're still making all of these little exceptions to and everything. And again, I don't think that we're in the same position. What's the sentiment of students out there in regards to the Rona? Do they think it's a hoax? Do they think it's made up, or are they taking it as seriously as they should?
It's a little bit like mixed. Most of the people that I know and that I still talk to, a lot of them are taking it seriously. Everyone's trying to stay home like 24/7 as much as they can. But I've seen other people that are like still going out to see friends. I've seen people who just go out to see like their significant other, for which like no, I don't think that's right. I don't think you should be going out just to see somebody even if they're your significant other. I think you should be staying home. Someone told me that it shouldn't be like isolating yourself, even though if you have proper social distancing rules, like you're 6 feet apart and have personal protection equipment. I think the best way to prevent it is just to stay by yourself. Don't be going out places.
Well, I think that it's been stated constantly. The only thing that maintaining that social distancing does, being apart from each other, it gives the scientists, the medical professionals, more time to start getting ready for trying to bring up something that might be able to push us across or push us through. But again, Dr. Hernandez, I mean, I am very concerned at times when our entities, and I'll mention the school district, and I mentioned some mandates that are easements to mandates that the county has placed. I think they start to put a sense of a false sense of security in a lot of people, whereas that makes them think, no, it must not be that bad. I mean, we're already opening this. We already can do this. You see the superintendent going back and forth distributing signs like a crazy man without a mask. It must not be that bad. I mean, are we sending the right message by opening up too soon?
I believe the obviously the county officials have information from obviously their health authorities and their health sources, and I understand the importance of opening up businesses with a plan like the governor that he has. So there's experts involved with this, but we should not get too lax. I've reported I think close to over the weekend and maybe Thursday, Friday, 7 new cases over to Cameron County Health. So we're not case free. I'm recording these cases. I'm sending them the information. They obviously take time to report to you because they have a contact investigation to investigate these disease. At the same time, right now I'm doing the approvals for this testing, and I'm seeing that those that were positive, over the past couple of days have now had some contact information with individuals they came in contact with, and now I'm approving those tests. So it's important to say it might be too early to open, but if we open, we still have to be very careful. I'm going to show you a website that UT put together in regards to projections. It's very accurate. Most people don't know that it's out there, but it's an excellent source for all of us.
Can you bring it up, Erasmo?
I'm waiting for you to bring up this. I'm looking at it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so yeah, we could do this. We could look at the United States. So this is the average of deaths per day. And we put our cursor on April 25th, which is what I have on my screen. The actual deaths was almost 2,000 deaths, 1,990. The projected was 1,850. And so very, very accurate numbers. So we're averaging 2,000 deaths a day. That's still extremely high. And that was for April 25th. These are actual numbers and projected numbers. So we are still at the top peak of this curve. We got to be extremely careful. Let's go ahead and look at Texas. If you just go scroll down to Texas and select Texas. This is the important one that we need to look at. So when you look at, let's go to April 25th. We have a minimum projected of 13 deaths, maximum projected of 50 deaths. The actual was 24 and the median was 27. So very accurate. We are looking at our curve. We expect to see the curve flatten around May 10th. If you see, there's a projection of minimum of 0 and maximum of 70. So this curve starts to flatten out in the next 2 weeks. If you review these percentages at the top, Frankie, if you could read them from the 51% all the way to 83.
Sure. 51% probability that the peak has already passed. 71% probability that the peak will pass in 1 week, and 83% probability that peak will pass within 2 weeks.
So these are very very these specialists in the UT system have put this together. So as you see, as we increase the weeks, the probability goes up. So I truly believe the peak must have passed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I truly believe we have to be extra careful for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And because of what the models are showing, now if we have a resurgence of the virus, we might have another mini peak because people are out and they're not wearing their face masks, they're not wearing their PPE if they have to wear PPE. So it's important that we take care of these issues before they become more problems. So 83%, 83% probability the peak will pass within 2 weeks. So I keep saying 2 to 3 more weeks of being extremely cautious will put us in a good spot.
Well, I'm concerned again. I'm concerned, and I'm projecting it's going to be a little bit farther down the line. This is just my understanding of it. And again, and I base it. I know that, and I know that UT is trying to put out a little map out there regards to Texas as a whole, and it's very hard to pinpoint and determine that that's going to be the case for our area. And the reason that I've been telling people, be careful, guys. I don't think that we've hit our peak yet, is because unlike other little ranchitos throughout the state of Texas, our area has had two nursing homes that have exploded. We've had two nursing homes that have exploded. We've had all our deaths come from those nursing homes in relation to it. We're starting to see the family members of the employees out there, testing positive. That's what concerns me, doctor. We also hear about little outbreaks out at Walmart, some at Amphel, some at CHS, some at Southwestern Keys. You start going like, I just don't think that it's completely over. And I base my numbers on the information that I get, and my numbers are en la cabeza. Should we be a little bit more concerned, being that we've had two nursing homes that have exploded, doctor?
I mean, I think when you look at the research and the studies, 20% of infections are coming from healthcare workers. So it is a common thing for healthcare workers that are to get exposed to the virus and then infect other people within the nursing home. So that's a highly possibility, and I've had positive patients from both nursing homes and from those facilities that you mentioned. The reality is the measures that those facilities are taking in place in conjunction with the Cameron County Health Department. Those measures, if aggressive and taken into consideration, our level of infection levels should be lower. And I think the facilities that I know personally are doing an extremely good job in controlling that. I can't speak for Harlingen. I don't know what they're doing in Harlingen. Harlingen needs to start testing, massive testing, and we're ready to help them if they need that.
Good. Just to respond to Nicholas, Dr. Hernandez is at the forefront in regards to the works being done out at Brownsville Sports Park. I was going to call it South Park. My head's on Kyle and Carton, but it's not South Park. It's Brownsville Sports Park, and out there. And Diego Mata is one of our students that's graduating this year, who's might not have graduation. So just to clarify who the individuals were, for the people who just came in, I wanted to make clear the reason I posted my opinion regarding the BISD drama. It is an example of the retaliation teachers face. Basically, they helped me prove my point on how important transparency is. El valiente llega hasta donde el cobarde lo deja. Disclaimer: I'm not at grammar. BISD teacher, we love you. Yeah, love our teachers. Diego, do you miss your teachers out there?
I miss my teachers a lot. Yeah, a lot. I said goodbye to some of them, saying see you next week. But yeah, after spring break, there was no see you next week.
Yeah, we have amazing teachers. I know most of the teachers out there at Hannah. I love them, almost all of them. Almost. Doctor, all joking aside, most of us know better than ingesting any type. I was waiting for this one to come up. Ingesting any type of disinfectant, as our fearless chief scientist has suggested. However, the National Poison Control has reported a rise in calls related to ingestion of chemicals those ridiculous suggestions. Any thoughts or comments?
I had that posted on social media. It's just I think what the president said was taken out of context, and we just have. I mean, come on, let's use common sense. When have we used Lysol, Clorox ingestion for anything else but putting you in the hospital, or probably death? So the reality is that is not something that anyone in the government or in our city government, local government recommends, and as practitioners we don't recommend anyone to do this. Obviously, it's the FDA and CDC Council has discussed the importance of not doing these things. So, has there been a rise of people going in the hospital for ingestion? I'm not too sure. Is that going on?
I don't think so. But I like Mo's comment. Mo, my buddy, if you don't know not to drink the stuff, then you have bigger issues. Yes. If you don't know not to drink Clorox or to inject Clorox, then you got bigger problems than the Rona, my man. Not bigger problems. I mean, guys, come on, guys. Oh my lord. I can't believe that anyone out there but again, I mean, we had some individuals taking hydrochloroquine.
From
some
the from
some
the from the
Arizona.
actual the fish tanks, and they died.
Yeah, they did that. It was a couple. No, Tristan, marijuana is not effective against Rona. Sorry. Good evening. Exactly. Doc. It's been very very interesting. Again, you're guessing that we're probably going to be peaking in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Sure. Yeah, I believe in the next 3 weeks we should have a peak, and we should have been decreasing if we continue our rules and regulations. We can have resurges and peaks if people don't follow rules and regulations. So be extra careful, be extra cautious. We did want to discuss some new signs and symptoms that CDC has put out. These are important to discuss for our drive-through testing site.
Yeah. What are the new symptoms, doctor, that
So
should be on the lookout for?
So the most common symptoms that everyone was focused on for the first 6 weeks of the disease, where we're seeing people complaining of fever, cough, shortness of breath. Now, the CDC has come out with additional symptoms, and I'll read them. So fever, cough, and shortness of breath are the most common. Chills, shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell. So I'll tell you how ahead of the curve that Brownsville has been. We actually focus on fever, cough, shortness of breath, and the loss of smell because I looked at Italy, I looked at France, I looked at these countries in Europe that were having this disease, and there were lots of studies were coming out. The patients were complaining of sudden loss of taste or smell. We've included this since day one for our testing site. So we've always been ahead. CDC has just come out with this. We've always been ahead. The other symptoms are an obvious symptoms of viral infection. When you have a virus, you might have a muscle pain, you might have headache, you might have a sore throat, you possibly could have chills. So what we do is that we review the patient comments, and I put some comments for Frankie to show. And so, like right here, this patient I approve myself. It doesn't include any private information, but I'll read it. Muscle aches, chills, severe headache, has been in close contact with someone that has COVID-19. I'm obviously going to approve this case. I've approved it, and I sent this information, just this specific with no identifiable information that actually shows what people are putting in their comments. So not only are we looking at the symptoms, we're also looking at their comments, and we're making the best informed decision for the patients of Brownsville, Texas.
Oh, we appreciate that, doctor. Now, someone was asking, Equin was asking in regards to the phone number for UTRGV. That is 956-665-2030. 2658, UCFTV 665-2658. It's all about the context. Everybody knows penicillin cures a variety of infections, but go eat a bunch of mold to try and cure your infection and see what happens. You're probably going to have a horrible lunch. That's for sure. There's a lot of static. Yes, someone's out there putting a lot of static. Someone's moving around. What's good with allergies with all this haze? Go see your doctor. Stop moving your microphone. That's horrible. Not sure. Let's see. Perdón, pero ¿es mandatorio regresar a trabajar, sí o no? Depende de su trabajo. Si es un trabajo en el cual se puedan mantener y tener ya estamos aquí. Si pueden mantener si pueden mantener la separación de vida, entonces pues sí es recomendable. Si no, no regrese a trabajar si es posible. A lo mejor soy yo. No. Anyway, not sure about the president's suggestion being taken out of context, as his comments were obviously serious enough for the FDA, CDC, and major manufacturers to make statements warning against introducing any type of chemicals into that. 100%. I think the president was out of line completely for saying that comment. I mean, 100%. It should have not have said it. It was irresponsible. Diego, did you hear the comment
about people taking Clorox and stuff?
Injecting Clorox. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
What did you hear about the comment?
I mean, I just know that apparently people are actually taking it seriously. Like that one comment said, if you seriously thought that was like a serious answer, that you have bigger problems. But either way, I don't think the president should be saying things like that in the middle of a pandemic. But I agree, it's not that much of a big deal.
I agree. Confuso porque sinusitis también pierdes el olfato y el sabor a la comida, doctor.
Yes. Verónica, es común que la sinusitis tenga un poquito de perder el olfato y sabor a la comida, pero hay otros síntomas como fiebre. Lo importante es, si tiene cualquier síntoma, los ponga el cuestionario o vaya con su médico, vaya para hacer el examen. Aquí no podemos con el puro síntoma saber, hay que hacer un examen para saber exactamente qué es lo que tiene o qué es lo que no tiene. Aquí no podemos tomar ningún riesgo. The new questionnaire, Frankie and Erasmo, starts on Monday, and I've added symptoms for abdominal pain and diarrhea and rash, because these are symptoms that people are reporting. So can you show Frankie the last, I did an approval just before getting on our live chat. And that approval, let me see here. What are I can't read here. Do you have the symptoms were, there's one, let me see. They develop symptoms, it's through your messenger. They develop symptoms of abdominal pain and diarrhea and fever. So, because I can't read it.
That's fine.
But it's important to know that we're addressing these and we're adding these to our questionnaire starting Monday. So people that develop abdominal pain, diarrhea, or any rash, we will be adding those to our testing because of the trends that we have been seeing with the rashes, the abdominal pains and diarrheas. And so these are not on the CDC website of the 6 additional, but we are seeing them as a community, and we want to screen those individuals for the disease.
Awesome. Now, is there any solid evidence that blood type or race plays a significant factor in COVID?
So it looks like African American and Hispanics tend to have more issues Why? Because they have more of these comorbid issues with diabetes, obesity, heart disease,
Yeah.
and it's
Underlying,
correlated. It's correlated to their comorbid issues.
right. So we could say that because we as Hispanics, as African Americans, we tend to have more of the underlying diseases out there, the probability, then we may be more susceptible to it.
Correct. And to answer Orly Moreno's COVID-19, there's been some reported cases of conjunctivitis, so some minimal eye infection that shows that it's been transmitted into the eye. And it's important to know that COVID can be transmitted through the eyes, and specifically, do not touch your eyes.
Yeah. If BIZ decides to have a graduation for our seniors, will Sylvia be allowed to be present? No, screw her. She will not be present. She's a rat. She's a thief. She doesn't deserve to be present. But I don't think they're going to have a graduation. Will you be okay if ultimately there's no graduation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better for everybody to not be all jumbled up in one place and just to do it. They're going to do it virtually. They're going to put a recording, and that's our graduation. But I'm fine with it. I know.
Have you already been contacted in regards to the school?
All that we've been told is that we're going to have the graduation day is going to be May 6th, I believe, and it's just going to be a recording. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think most seniors, there's been one or two or three or four that have come out like, oh, I want my prom. Like, guys, come on, guys. But I think most have come to the realization and have manned up about it and said, you know what, ni modo, we have to roll with the punches, right?
Yeah.
Good. I like it when people start rolling with the punches. We all got to do that. I wasn't a remark based on qualification because I wasn't a remark based on taking it out seriously. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sorry, guys. Erasmo, I think Sylvia caused COVID-19 in Brownsville. What about you? She caused something, bro. Let me tell you. I know she caused COVID-19, but she sure did cause something. And we're probably going to see a little bit more about that on June the 8th. Look at this statement in his face. This guy was having serious. The guy was 0 business in those GPs. I think we will be hearing much less from him from now on. You're talking about Puppy Trump. Puppy Trump sent me a check, bro. Anyone who sends me a check is A-okay in my book, bro. So, hats off to Puppy Trump. Puppy Trump, send me another check, babe, please. I remember a lot of people having pink eye before spring break. Someone's microphone sucks.
It's possibly mine. I mean, I have the headphones as I was recommended. I don't do a lot of these interviews.
Has no place making unwarranted recommendations. There are people out there that will believe him. I don't know. Sylvia's got to go. Preach, Christopher. Gentlemen, we all know that certain social restrictions can help slow down the virus considerably. But we also know that a vaccine is probably a year away. Yeah, we talked about that, Mo. At what point do we open the country and move forward? The country will suffer much more damage and mortality for the economic of a continued shutdown. Diego, I'm going to let you take this question, Diego.
What's up?
What do you think about that?
Honestly, although I get that the businesses are opening up so we can make the economy stable again, I think it puts too many people at risk. But then again, what do I know? I'm not in the business.
But
I'm not doing business.
But you will be very, very, very sure. I tell you. Again, guys, we have to open up responsibly. We have to make sure we open up in a way that is safe. And again, start opening up the cities where we haven't had a lot of outbreak out there, where we haven't had a lot of individuals who have suffered from it. Little towns that are more secluded that can probably afford to start opening up. Start opening up those towns, guys. But towns like Cameron County, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, where there's been an explosion, I think we should slow down, please.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's all economics. We understand it's hard for us to say, business owners, small businesses don't open up shop. But at the end of the day, people need to get to work. I understand that, but let's try and do our best to practice social distancing. That way, we won't get the second wave, as Dr. Edet and several medical experts have advised us that if we're not cautious, there is a possibility of this coming back again with the second wave. So only time will tell.
Dr. Hernandez.
I think we should all just follow. I think Dr. Fauci has shown us throughout the years as being at the forefront of the HIV epidemic and pandemics, and through everything that we've come as a country. I think Dr. Fauci has it on paper, and he's been able to deploy the most cognitive information for individuals. So we just got to follow him and follow our leaders. And main thing is everyone has to do their own part. Everyone has to follow the social distance, and everyone has to do their own preventive measures. I spent half of my day cleaning my garage and decontaminating the area where my shoes are, because I've been to the testing sites. I was in UTRGV's lab last week on Wednesday. I was there where they're doing RNA extraction of the virus. I was given a tour of the facilities of those laboratories. So we come in contact with the virus, and it's important to take measures. So what we did is we use Clorox as a disinfectant before coming into our home. I have a mat that's full of water and Clorox that I'm gonna have my shoes, kind of clean my shoes on there, and then take them off before coming into the home. So measures like this prevent viral spread. Simple measures.
Amen, brother. Very quickly, Jimmy, what's your opinion on beach opening Erasmo, considering low numbers in Laguna Madre area? Let me tell you, I want the beaches to open. I want the fishing sites to open. I just want people to be responsible. I want people, to maintain that social distance. But again, going to Jimmy's question, the problem, Jimmy, is that a lot of the people here, like our elected leaders, are putting in that bad information into the people's mind. Like, number, it's okay, go out, go deliver signs, go do this, go do that. There's no shelter in place when your elected leaders do that kind of stuff. And again, it happened with our district, and it's not that, I'm trying to be an ass about it. It's just a fact. When you see people out there in the district, the administration, and the board members going out there delivering signs isn't a shelter in place exception. It isn't. It doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. I mean, I understand that kids are going to be receiving the signs, but no student, no graduate out there knows who the hell the board members are anyway, and they probably don't give a rat's ass anyway. The only reason that they know about Sylvia is because we've been posting on her that she's a big old rat. That's it. I mean, that's probably the way that they know any of the board members. But Diego, do y'all know any of the board members, like little Eddie, Crazy Minerva, any of those people?
Any board members that what?
Y'all know any board members?
Personally, I don't.
Yeah, they don't. But when I was a board member, you know that I was a board member? Preach. Dr. Hernandez, are there certain changes to social and general public interactions that can be implemented as part of our everyday lifestyles now that could make a significant impact on controlling the virus? Example, no more shaking hands, make social distancing the norm. Again, and I'll let another answer. But I will say that it's already part, I think, of the new culture that we're going. There's not going to be much handshaking for a long, long time. And there's going to be certain levels of social distancing. Am I right, Dr. Hernandez?
I think this becomes the new norm, where we become more conscious of the actual of touching our face and shaking hands, and obviously being more conscious of washing our hands, and now I'm seeing more people kind of do the bump with the elbow,
Yeah,
which is actually I highly recommend to do that and not to shake any hands.
No hands.
There's a lot of Mexican culture, Mexican American heritage of kissing around. So let's stay away from that, and stay away from from the nose, eyes, nose, and mouth area. So lots of changes coming. I think it's a positive change. We just grow with it, and it becomes our norm, and it's actually a good thing for us. It's a good thing. It's a good learning tool that we have that we know that works.
I agree. Jim, is it going to the beach contradicting shelter in place? Well, the way that I've seen it is there's always been a little essential in regards to exercising, and I was all for that. For people that wanted to go do the running, the walking, use the bike trail. I mean, I scooter all over Brownsville, because I'm cool that way. But I like scootering, and it is exercise. I don't care what anybody else out there says. Being on your scooter is exercise. So again, I like doing that. So I would say that going to the beach, if you're going to go walking, jogging, you're going to go walk your dog, you're going to go into the water, you're going to go out there and fish, something that has always been considered an essential by the governor. I think as long as you maintain that social distancing, I think you're going to be okay. Frankie doesn't like the beaches that are open. I tend to like the beaches open. Diego, what do you think?
About the beaches opening, I think it's fine as long as people are doing it responsibly, like you said. But I know a lot of people that won't be doing it responsibly. Like at the beach today, there was a bunch of people that were close together. That's what people don't understand. They're allowed to go to the beach, and I think it's fine if you go to the beach. But if you don't maintain social distancing like you're supposed to, that's what creates the problem.
Well, yeah, and but again, that's something that we are going to have to start to teach our people. Because I mean, you go to HEB and Walmart, there's zero social distancing going on out there. It's just crazy. Gas pumps are sticky. What kind of gas pumps are you going to, my man? What are y'all doing at the gas pumps? Damn it! If families are able to go to the beach, does that mean you can have as many people in your car? Four people in the car. So please, my daughter has a very small fee at the school library. If she doesn't pay, she doesn't graduate. Is that true? She's senior at Porter. No, it's not true. She will not graduate for a small fee, but please go pay the fee. If it's very, very small, go pay the fee, please. But she'll be okay. Can a person potentially be infected with the influenza and COVID simultaneously? I'm going to say yes, doctor. Is that correct?
Yes, there's there's studies out there that show that people have co-infections, and so the percent is less. They're small percents, but they could be infected with parainfluenza viruses, influenza A and B viruses, coronavirus, other coronaviruses, rhinoviruses. These are adenoviruses. These are common viruses that you could have a co-infection of. Now, I think that's an important study that should be taking place somewhere in the U.S., and it's probably there. When you look at co-infections, if you have COVID-19 and influenza, you are more likely to have death because these illnesses have complications from pneumonia where people die. So I think it's something that we need to look into, and it's important to know that you could have both.
Am I breaking social distancing if I have one friend over? Yes.
And Erasmo, starting last week, as of Monday, we switched to all swab techniques, all nasal swabs, because our distributor, our laboratory now has more supply. And so we were able to, before we would accommodate the vulnerable populations, the children, the elderly, with our swabbing techniques. But now these nasal swabs are available to everyone coming in the drive-through. That has happened from Monday moving forward. We've done over 250 swabs. We have 84 reported positive cases. We've done over 1,200 exams. So anyone that believes they need a test, submit your questionnaires. We're reviewing those in real time. I'm reviewing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all the days at all times. We're reviewing, and if you believe you need to test, get the screening questionnaire. We'll decide if you need it.
Mo, be nice. Mo, first, I had to look up what you were referring to, and I found it. Be nice. Guys, Frankie, is there anything else we need to cover today?
No, I just want to say thank you so much to Dr. Herrera Hernandez for taking the time out to answering some of our questions. I think it's very important to hear from you, sir. You are at the front line, so to speak. So thank you so much for your time and your attention to the audience. And more importantly, to Diego. Thank you so much, Diego, for being here with us. On behalf of Erasmo and Dr. Eder, we're very proud of your accomplishments. One thing we do want to stress is that there's more to life than a graduation. It is symbolic. It does represent a lot of your hard work and your family sacrifice. But have bigger goals and have bigger ideas. The good thing about your family is that they're always going to support you. And even now, now you have Erasmo as your adopted. Your adopted friend, and not just him, but the community as a whole. Again, shouts out to the Adopt the 2020 graduate page. They're doing an awesome job. So thank you so much, Dr. Eder, and thank you so much, and congratulations to Diego Mata.
Diego, any final words, Diego?
Just thank you guys for having me on today. It was really cool, really cool, and for everybody else to stay safe, stay inside.
Stay safe, stay inside, take care of each other. Thank you, Diego. I appreciate you coming on and giving us that insight in regards to what your sentiments are. Trying to have a better picture in regards to what our student population is out there. What they're experiencing. I mean, it's always good. And again, we have an open forum. Anyone that wants to come on, be a little bit productive, wants to share information, please come on. Dr. Hernandez, I can't say enough about you. You're doing an amazing job as the community appreciate you, your staff, and everybody else. Any final words or anything else you want to share with us?
I think a final topic, real quick, is in France, the French workers have been shown to be that are smokers have been shown to have 4 times less likely to get the infection. We obviously don't want people to promote smoking, which can cause heart attacks, strokes, and other problems. But the nicotine has been proven or has been shown to prevent the disease. In France, the healthcare workers are it looks like they want to be wearing nicotine patches for prevention. So there is a lot of new studies, lots of new ideas, lots of new prevention tips that we're keeping in contact with, and we're learning from these. So it's something to look into. And look at the research. So that I thought that was interesting, and I provided that to Frankie because those nicotinic receptors, acetylcholine receptors, are found in the olfactory system, and this is the reason why you lose your sense of smell. So there is some validity to this, and we know that it's being looked at in France.
Cool. I like the French, especially. I especially like the fries. Good.
Yeah.
I like the pizza.
French
All
fries.
right. Sounds good. We appreciate you guys.
Guys, thank you so much for being here, guys. Everyone out there, be nice to everyone out there. Be nice to our people that work in our restaurants. Be nice to your teachers, to your counselors. Again, don't stress yourself over the work. We've already given instructions in regards to this for not. If you've already passed before spring break, you're good. For seniors out there, do contact your counselors and teachers to make sure that you've got all your requirements ready for graduation, which will probably be only a virtual one. But hey, man, it's great. Start looking at the next chapter in your life. Guys, have a great evening. God bless. Take care of each other. Take care of me. Be good to me, please. Someone has to. Bye.